All right, so let's move to our interview segment. Today we have a filmmaker who has now become a force in the industry. I said that force deliberately, you know. Laju is a household name who came to the spotlight over 2 years ago when she debuted her feature film, Loving Amanda, through a unique first of its kind virtual cinema, making over, I dare say, 11 million in sales, making it the biggest virtual premiere of the year. Since then, she has gone on to release other films like Mistakenly Yours, amongst others. Today, we're focused on her next project. Laju Films is set to debut 3 movies. Of course, they will be delivering unrivaled entertainment for viewers this Christmas season. Laju Iren joins me now in the studio. Thank you very much for coming. Thank you
for having me, Theophilus. I feel like I should take you everywhere just to introduce me like this.
All right, so we will be talking about the virtual cinema, which will see fans watch three movies in her kit, including Loving Amanda, Mistakenly Yours, and of course Danfo and the Rose, which is the newest.
Yes, it is the newest.
It is the newest one. So, first of all, 3 movies. Why a virtual cinema? First of all, for Loving Amanda, why did you decide to do a virtual cinema at the time?
So for Loving Amanda, it was my first feature. I was relatively new in the industry. I still am new by some standards, and I knew that if I took that film to the cinemas, the numbers weren't really going to add up because of the way the distribution system works. And it was a first film. So I wanted a way that I could give it directly to the consumers, but still be able to not just make impact, but make the money back.
Okay.
And some of the offers we got, the figures were not figuring. So we said, why don't we do something that takes the film directly to the consumers? Because we started from YouTube and we had a number of people who were already watching our films.
Okay.
But now this was a bigger budget film. We needed to make the money back. And so we said, okay, maybe we should gather everybody in one place and then they can watch. But the problem with that is to pay for the facility to sit that number of people, you'll end up running at a loss. Yeah. So we said, okay, why don't we do it in a way that we build our own platform. But if you're building your own platform and you are backing it up day to day, which is the way the subscription method works, you're still going to run at a loss. So we said, okay, let's make it a cinema but virtual, so people can watch it within a particular time, but they can watch from anywhere in the world and pay to us directly. And that's how we started for Loving Amanda. And then we did 11M for Loving Amanda, 26M for Mistakenly Yours. So compared to the budget of the films, it's still a far cry, but we're making progress and getting better.
So I act as well.
Oh, no, not a problem. Not a problem at all.
Okay, so in all of this now,
yes,
you did the virtual premiere, you've taken your movies to the cinema, and now you're back for Christmas movies. Why did we decide to have all these 3 movies in one for Christmas?
That's a very good question. So I haven't taken my film to the cinema yet. That was my husband's.
Yeah, your husband's
film. He was here a while back for What About Us. So if you haven't seen it,
What About Us went all around.
Yes, it did. It's such
went
a good
film.
film.
Went to the UK. It's such a good film.
Yes, it is.
And well, he had to pull it out of the cinema because he had made. I won't say the figure, but
there's a lot more that can be done. But we thank God he did so well. I'm proud of him. But back to the question you asked me, when we did Mistakenly Yours for a virtual, the virtual premiere for Mistakenly Yours, it was just for the Easter season, and so there were a lot of people who hadn't seen the film, but we only put it for that period and then took it out. And people were like, I haven't seen it, I haven't had the opportunity to see it. And so we said, okay, since we're going to release Danfo and the Rose this Christmas, let's also give people a chance to either see Mistakenly Yours if they haven't seen it at all, or to see it again. And then Loving Amanda is a beautiful film. It's still on Prime right now, but some people still have not seen it or would like to see it again. And all these stories really weave together in terms of the beauty of the Christmas season. Loving Amanda is a story on redemption, so is Mistakenly Yours. Danfo and the Rose is about dreams coming true. And it just made sense to weave them all together and for people to just enjoy them this holiday season.
Okay, so in talking about Mistakenly Yours, because I've watched that as well, it's you had Stanins there, you had
Chinonso
Arubai and all. Look at all of them here.
Tomike.
Yes. So in writing your films, what usually comes to mind? Let's talk about first of all Mistakenly Yours. What came to mind when writing this film? What informed the decision to script it the way it was?
So one of my favorite genres of film is romantic comedy.
Obviously,
I love like just I love feel good kind of films. But you know, many of my films are also really faith based. Okay. And for Mistakenly Yours, I wanted to give people a different perspective about the gospel. So it really is about a pastor who thinks that you have to be poor to be rich, and some people who to be poor to be saved, and some people who feel you have to be rich to be saved. But really understanding that the gospel is not about money or the lack thereof, but it's about something bigger and deeper. And then it's a story about redemption, because the truth is that people need to forgive themselves for their past hurts or for their past mistakes. And so it's really a story about forgiving yourself, accepting the forgiveness that God has given to you. And it's about love and romance and just simply knowing that even in the challenging seasons of your life, even when you make a mistake, God can turn it around for good. And then I really wanted to work with Stan and Chinonso together. So as I was writing, I was thinking about them, and I'm glad it came out the way it did.
It really came out good when I watched it, and I'm like, oh no, I need to watch it again. Even seeing the trailer recently, I'm like, I need to go back and watch it.
So Christmas movies 2024.
Yes. Okay, so Downfall on the Rose, now it's a new one.
Yes, it is a new one.
It's a new one. Tell us about that.
So Downfall on the Rose, I love it for a number of reasons. We try to, as much as possible, target an even younger audience. So in some ways, it's a Gen Z film, but it really is a film for people of all ages. And then we've worked with stars before, but I think it has the largest number of stars. Dunia Day is in it, Sam Dede is in it, Michael Dapper, Shine Roseman, Shinwa Jaye, Mr. Macaroni,
yes,
SLK,
SLK,
Akanani. So we really wanted to just really bring everybody together in this film. And it's a story about pursuing your dreams and making dreams come true. And I must say that this is the first time people are saying this.
Yes,
actually.
yes,
We haven't released it yet.
I was telling my editor upstairs while we're looking at the film. I was like, oh, is it online? I said, it's not online.
No, I sent it to
This
TVC first.
is the first place you see it. Okay, so Downfall on the Rose is part of the movies for the Christmas movies 2024,
yes.
right? And so what should people expect from that particular movie?
I think you should just expect to be inspired. Okay. It's in some ways it's a grass to grace story, and in some ways it's a grace to grass story. But it's really is about bringing together people from two different walks of life and the challenges that come with that, but really realizing that at the basic level we all want the same things, and that even when it seems like there's nothing we need, there are things we need. There are dreams that we need to help others fulfill and dreams that we need to fulfill. So it is about making your dreams come true, but also helping other people make their dreams come true. And then it has some secondary themes like drug abuse, homelessness. If you watch it, it has some social themes just underneath the surface. But at the major level, it's about bringing two worlds together and realizing that we all do want the same things and that your dreams are valid.
How were you able to get Sam Dede?
Laju are great.
Because I know he picks his script. That's what I've heard. He doesn't just go into any movie.
Yes, so he did read it and he liked it and he was glad to be on board. It's a Nigerian film, so. Well, it was really an honor to work with him. It's an interesting thing to watch somebody when you were growing up and then to be able to work with them as an adult. When I was a child, I wasn't even too sure if I was going to go into filmmaking, but I loved his acting. So it was good to see that he was back on the scene around the time when we started making Downfall on the Rose in 2023. Wow. And he came all the way from, I think, Port Harcourt to be with us for this season that we were shooting. But it was good working with him.
That's
as well as the rest of the cast.
That's actually good. But in the general term in filmmaking, are there plans to expand, how do I put it now, the gospel film industry? I'm saying that in such with respect because we see that we don't have a lot of gospel movies out there, and even if we see them, most of them are not in cinemas, and people don't get to see the movies, and it doesn't make so much impact as you expect. So are there plans to, or do you have a long-term dream to see that this is expanded further such that we can have this genre of movies go into the cinemas and still make money while making impact as well? I
think that we are doing better than we were doing before.
Obviously.
If it was 2 years ago, they'll tell you, we don't really like taking Christian films to cinemas because they don't really make as much. I'm also a firm believer in the fact that I like the cinema experience, but I'm a firm believer in the fact that we might need to look beyond that. Okay. We might need to look beyond, if my film doesn't go to cinemas, it will go to this streamer or it will go on YouTube. Because there are so many challenges that come with that. Sometimes as a filmmaker, if your film goes to cinemas, and let's say you make 50 million, what might come to you as a filmmaker might be maybe less than 40% of that. by the time you
let's not open that.
let's not go there.
I understand the whole thing.
And then when you talk about streaming, streamers are very interesting.
Okay.
I won't say more than that because I'm in the industry. They are very interesting. So sometimes they say they want A, and by the time you make A, there's been a change and they want B. And sometimes they want 100 films from Nollywood and you wake up and they say they want 10. So so we really need to get to a point where we are not seeking permission to tell our stories. The thing, I love YouTube. I'm going to make some YouTube films next year. But when I look at the figures, if I make a film and I get 1 million views, I'm not going to make, at least for the films I do have with me now, I may not make up to 10% of what I used to make the film from the advertising. So we really need to explore other options for film distribution that give us more independence and empower us better to tell our stories. And that's what we are doing with the virtual cinema. So that's...
Okay, so you talked about shooting our own movies, exploring our stories.
Yes.
Are we looking at a point where we're going to have you do all those kind of village kinds of stories?
Yes, yes. Right. Between next year and the upper year. So something a bit more different from our urban style of filmmaking. I have something in mind.
So you're going to go back to the village to shoot?
That's the one I will call you for.
Okay. You want me to wear raffia and all of
yes,
that, right?
Yes. But I wanted to mention, you talked about the Christian film industry. I think that we are making a lot of progress and more Christian filmmakers are coming up. And it's just a matter of time. I think that both spiritually and in terms of just socially, there seems to be a lot of growth. And if we continue to encourage one another, if you are requesting for your streamers, we want to see this film, if you're watching them as opposed to trying to pirate. You know, some people, once they like a film, they just want to find a way to download it. So if we're putting our money where our faith is, and we are pushing these films, and we are giving them the support that they deserve, Christian filmmakers will continue to crop up. I have a lot of faith in us that we will.
What about funding? Because that's one recurring
my brother
for this genre of movies.
We'll get there.
Because I've spoken to some filmmakers in the Christian scene, and they talked about the fact that even the churches are not even doing as much to support Christian filmmakers, and that's why you see a lot of them going back to shoot and get support every other place. How do
we enter church matter now this morning? Yeah. I think that when you talk about churches as a whole, people don't realize, but many times churches have a lot on their plate. There's welfare. There is, if you know the rent of many facilities today, so there is a lot that churches prioritize. And there are some churches that are going out of their way to prioritize filmmaking. But I think that we need to look beyond churches are not giving us money to how do we ensure that we balance the economics of this, so that we make a product that we can sell, that makes profits, and then we can make even more. So if we don't see the business aspect of it, we wouldn't really be able to take the industry as we ought to. So there has to be a business mindset also, even for Christian filmmakers. So
even if you love to do things for God,
yes,
you have to have a mindset that you have to make profit.
Yes, except maybe God has told you, don't make any profit, don't make any profit. But I see what I do both as a call and as a business. Okay. So that, because there is a lot of funding out there. People are paying for entertainment. Even believers are paying for entertainment. Yes. So we really need to see our own as something that's worth paying for. That now empowers filmmakers to make even more films. Somebody asked me online, they said, why can't you just make your films free? And I said, so the thing is, I have people called investors. Their money is with me in about 8 figures. If you have a way, I can pay them back. But really, I think that it is a viable business. Okay. And so if we are able to make the best of it as a business, put out quality work, find a way to sell, consistently push our stories, we'll be able to make money back that we cannot use to make other films. But if you have a call, for example, or an inclination to give towards Christian storytelling, please, by all means, do it. But in the meantime, get to my film at christianstories24.com.
We're going to still get to that.
Oh my God.
So how do you manage all of this? You're a wife, a pastor of a church, and you're a filmmaker. So
yeah.
How do you manage all of this? Now you're going on the road for virtual cinema.
Yes.
Your 3 movies are going to be there. How do you manage all of this?
I think God really does help me. There's a lot of grace. I also really have a great support system. You know, you've asked me this question before. I knew you were still going to ask me today.
I know why I'm asking you. I know he's watching.
I have a great support system. My husband is just an incredible person. So he's always the kind of person that pushes you to give your best and creates an enabling environment for you to do that. My parents-in-law, my staff, older children. At least now I have a 60-year-old I can tell, go and bring remote. That's still support system. So there is that. And then even though I do a lot of things, I don't do all of them at the same time. So I kind of try to prioritize. Like now I'm in a sales season. So maybe apart from pastoring on Sundays, which is something I have to do consistently, pastoring throughout the week, but on Sundays as well. And then the Christmas movies, I don't have any other major project apart from ministry and this at this time. So it's just really about prioritizing what's most important at the time and giving it your best, because the figures we invested in making films last year a lot, so I can't be sleeping. We have to make you back. So we have to put in as much energy into pushing our stories, into telling stories about our stories, as we put into making the stories in the first place.
Okay, so Christian Movies 2024 now. How do people get to watch these movies there? Okay,
so if you go to christmasmovies2024.com, you can get your tickets ahead of time. The virtual cinema is from December 24th to December 31st. Okay. We're selling tickets ahead of time. That way we onboard everybody on the platform ahead of time, and then you can see the film within the 8 days of Christmas.
Oh, so just 8 days of
yes,
Christmas.
Yes, it is 8 days. Before we did 4 days, and now we've multiplied it.
My brother,
we are paying for hosting in USD.
So everyone can go there and watch the 3 movies: Loving Amanda, Mistakenly Yours,
and Down for the Rose.
Down for the Rose.
Yes, please.
I'm sure many people will try to watch Down for the Rose first.
Yes, I think so.
Because it's the
newest one.
And now,
and we've been making a lot of noise about it. I started working on the film idea stage 2021, right in 2022, and then we shot early January 2023. So it's been a long time coming. Our audience has been waiting. So yes, I believe it's Down for the Rose they'll see first.
Okay, so this movie was directed by?
This movie was directed by Michael Amasami Sakinrokunde. He was the one who also directed Loving Amanda, but Mistakenly Yours was directed by Bjorn Stephen.
Yes. Okay, so what would be your message for your audience at this time?
I think I'll start with a thank you message. Thank you for supporting me. I had no idea that when we were doing something so out of the box for the first time in 2022, we were going to make the figures we made. Well, I did hope we would do that, but it keeps getting better. And so I would say thank you. But in the meantime, there is much more to do, many more stories to come and many more stories to tell. So please do support us. Where's my camera? Please support us and get your tickets at christmasmovies2024.
So what's the next project?
So next year I'm making a number of YouTube films, actually. I'm still going to maybe do one virtual premiere. I'm not sure yet. But let me keep that a little bit. But just expect more from Nigerian films in the new year.
Okay, so anyways, your anniversary yesterday.
Yes.
10 years.
10 years.
How has it been? I know you did a video about that. How has it been 10 years of marrying Pastor Iren?
Such a handsome man. It's been sweet.
God.
Well, of course, you know that anybody who has a beautiful marriage has gone through the work of making it beautiful. There are ups, there are downs. I think I was on the show and they asked me what are the downs. But I think we are really in a stage where we understand each other more than ever before, are more at peace and more in love than ever before. But it did take some, it's just like when you're coming out of your house, not your house, but if you live in an area where the road is bad, it might take you a while to get to the express where everything is free. And I think we're at a really good, we've gone through some bumps, but I think altogether there's been a consistency of making sure that we do our best in making it work, both for my husband and myself. And God is the builder of homes, and He's helped us. We married pretty young.
Yeah.
So
you know, Adebanke at a point showed me a picture of both of you.
I hope you're not showing it here.
No, not. I saved you the horror.
Not the horror.
You know, between then and now, God has been.
He really has been. He really has been. Well, we thank God. 10 years, 4 kids.
And he's been in ministry since university.
Yes. But church officially 12 years. But I met my husband. The first time I saw him, he was praying. He was leading a prayer in school, in our school chapel. And then we actually started off as a youth fellowship there. I think I was in 100 or 200 level. He was in 200 or 300 level. And then that evolved. So God has been really good to us.
At that time, God told you that this is the man?
No, actually.
Or God told him this is the woman?
No, actually. We were just serving the Lord.
Ministry.
Yeah, and then after a while, Pastor
Laju Iren.
Fire on my altar, fire in my eyes.
Okay. I know Pastor Emmanuel has released a new single as well.
There's an album coming out November 8th.
We're expectant.
Husband. That man. Okay, continue.
And I'm sure he's planning another film.
He's planning a lot of things. He's even working on the album after this one.
Okay.
So
looking ahead.
Yeah, when he comes,
no problem.
You ask
we'll still have him.
about
Thank you so much for coming and talking to us about this.
I had a good time. Thank you for having me.
We had a good time. Thank you so much. Of course, sports